This is Steve Hewlett again from balancedfitlifestyles.com, and today we're going to finish off the topic that we were talking about in the last video, which was sugar. And again, just to refresh your memory if you haven't seen it, but basically this is the molecule for sugar. And basically what this is the 50% glucose, which is this 6-membered ring, and 50% of fructose, which is this 5-membered ring. And we talked about glucose in the last video, and today I want to talk to you about the fructose poison, the fructose portion of this. And like I ended the last video, fructose is poison, and I really truly want you to understand how important this is, because we have sugar in everything, and we have high fructose corn syrup in everything, which basically is the exact same thing. This is what is killing our nation. It's killing us, and it's killing the world. And we've got to be aware of what we're putting in our mouths, because this is what causes diabetes, which is what's on this whole series is about. And it's something that is so horrible and it's devastating to so many people, so many Americans, and so many people around the world. And it's all because of the nutrition that we put in our mouths. And fructose is a major, major player in this. And so what I wanted to explain to you is, like I said last time, when we were talking about glucose, glucose is natural. That's a substance that every single cell in our body knows how to use the glucose portion of the sugar molecule. However, with the fructose portion of the molecule, the only organ in our body that can metabolize fructose is the liver. And this is part of why fructose is a poison, because only one organ can actually metabolize it, and that's the liver. The other thing is the metabolites that are made from fructose are extremely toxic to our bodies. The first one, when we take in high fructose corn syrup or take in sugar, what we do is we take in glucose and fructose. The fructose portion, the first part of it, the liver can actually metabolize fructose into glucose, but it only does a little bit, and it really only does it if it's needed. But in general, since we usually take these in together, the glucose isn't needed. So that just accounts for a small, small portion of the fructose. The other thing that fructose does is when we take it in, fructose gets converted into uric acid. Now yes, uric acid, also the increase of uric acid causes gout, and there are many Americans who suffer from gout, and this is from, or something that actually adds to this, is all the uric acid that's produced from all the fructose that we take in from sugar and high fructose corn syrup. And again, this is in everything. This is in all our processed foods. This is in all of our sugar-sweetened beverages, no matter what kind of sugar. Whether you have juice, whether it says it's all natural juice, it's still high in sugar. Stay away from it. Whether it's soda pop, whether it's basically anything in a box, bag, bottle, or can, chances are it's going to have high fructose corn syrup or sugar in it, and this is what's going to increase our fructose load. So this is also why they think that we have more gout, is because fructose gets converted into uric acid. Now, it's not just the gout that's important. The other thing that's important is uric acid. When we build this uric acid up in our liver, what it does is that blocks our body's nitrous oxide production. And this is extremely important because nitrous oxide, just like if you've ever heard of nitroglycerin, nitrous oxide causes our blood vessels to dilate. So that is our body's own natural antihypertensive. When our bodies produce nitrous oxide, it causes our blood vessels to dilate, and that decreases our blood pressure. So when you eat fructose and it gets converted into uric acid, this blocks nitrous oxide production, and this makes our blood vessels constrict down, so that it increases our hypertension. And if you remembered in one of my last videos when we talked about metabolic syndrome, hypertension was one of the 5 things that make up metabolic syndrome. Now, the other thing that fructose gets converted into is inflammatory mediators. And these inflammatory mediators go all over our body and start causing inflammation in almost every organ in our body. And this is another thing. That's why we have an extensive amount of cardiovascular disease, which is due to inflammation. We have arthritis. We have inflammatory bowel diseases. We have all kinds of inflammation. Anything that ends in itis means inflammation, and there's all kinds of itises around. And again, fructose actually gets converted into these inflammatory mediators that cause this. But the other thing that's extremely important that fructose gets converted into is it gets converted straight into triglycerides. And this is important. They just recently discovered a substance called methylglyoxal. And methylglyoxal is a substance that they found whenever we take in a sugar load, whenever we take in a fructose load, a very high percentage of that, because of methylglyoxal, gets converted straight from fructose straight into triglycerides. And these triglycerides, those go around and get stored in our body. And as you'll see in my next video, there are certain triglycerides, the triglycerides that are formed from the processing of glucose and sugar and fructose in the liver. These make up the they're called small dense LDLs, and this is where all the problem starts and all the organ damage occurs that is from a high processed food diet. So please stay tuned, and I'll explain to you exactly what triglycerides are and how this is actually causing organ damage all over our bodies. So hope to see you in the next video. Bye-bye.